What is up, guys? It's your boy GRC. We're coming at you live every single day, 11 a.m. Eastern. Me and Sam Stoll, producer bullish, every single day. It's a confusing life. There's lots going on, but it is certainly more fun than manual labor. I can promise you that. And no, there's so much going on in crypto right now, guys. I can't even stop. But I promise you, watch a lot of different stuff from a lot of different guys that are calm, cool, collected, and know exactly what they're talking about. But don't listen to one of them in particular. Listen to a couple of them. And then think of your own ideas as you go on. That's helpful when you have your own ideas, because when you're living someone else's story, you're paying them. I promise. Without knowing what's going on, right? So this show's all about education. This show's all about the details. This show's all about the truth, frankly. We're not the most money motivated group in the world, although my net worth is all-time highs. And I did not expect that. Frankly, that was the last thing I expected. I expected maybe like awesome YouTube channel, which happened, but like I'm starting to understand these tools more and more intimately as time goes on, and it's been very interesting and very fun. Frankly, it's been a little easier than I thought. But anyway, there's so much to learn. There's so much I still don't know. We have a couple things we're going to show today. I know you guys are all thinking about the Richard Hart the Richard Hart lawsuit thing. Guys, that's a piece of paper at this moment. And it is a piece of paper we'll probably pull up, but that's all it really is a piece of paper. Bullish is a little bit better at looking, and Sam, frankly, at looking through some of those documents than I. So we'll all do it kind of together-ish. We're going to play a Richard Hart clip. This is about securities law. So it's a security law situation, but Richard's educated everyone about, there's no one that put a pen to that paper that knows more about securities laws than Richard Hart. So let's be frank about that. Richard was very clear and clinical when he did some of these things back in the day when he made this immutable code, trustless contract. We're also going to be watching the Bitboy rant from yesterday. Bitboy rant about Sam Bankman. That's his name, right? Damn it. I hope that's his name. Sam Bankman. Yes, the nerdy guy. Sam Bankman, I had a couple guys in this chat that wanted Sam Bankman on the crucifix getting killed. Like, they did not like it. Me and Sam were a little bit like, we don't have any insight on this guy, but like, he's making cheddar. And now I'm starting to see, okay, he's pushing legislation as hard as he possibly can, which is totally cool. That's fair game. But again, this is a war. This is a war of legislation and internet clickers. And it's an interesting war. And me and Sam are all about war. No, not really. But guys, 1 minute, 8 seconds. Then we're transitioning to a Richard Hart video. Then me and Sam will be ready to go. We'll be watching the Bitboy rant clip along with giving you insight via Twitter on like where the little rant started, because it's all in the video. And then Sam's going to go into some nuanced details about well, maybe not. We're going to listen to something and talk about securities, mining, proof of stake. Where does this all kind of merge in the middle? Centralized ownership, Sam. Like, it kind of all like bubbles around the same thing, but like nothing can infiltrate because we're talking DeFi. But let's talk, guys. I can't wait. Crypto in the morning, 1 minute, 9 seconds. We'll see you in a sec.
You already know what time it is.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Waiting on phone.
Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning.
Ready to take notes.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Waiting on phone.
Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning.
Ready to take notes.
Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some HEX and I'm making a stake. Got me some hedge on, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. Jim ready sent me to show you the way.
DeFi proof.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Waiting on phone.
Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning.
Ready to take notes.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Waiting on phone.
Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning.
Ready to take notes.
That would fail the Howie test. I think the last time that you spoke with you,
you don't know shit about the Howie test to make that statement. I know more about it than you. I can educate you if you want.
Sure.
Yes, it's very simple. The Howie test states that a security is when people give money to a pool with the expectation of profit solely from the work of others. In HEX, only you can mint your own coins. No one else in the world, only you. When you free claim your HEX, you mint your own HEX. You mine them from scratch. They never existed before you invented them. You're doing all the work. When you stake your HEX, you burn your coins. And then when you end stake, you actually mint new coins and a reward. You do all that, and no one else in the world could possibly do it for you because you're the only person in the world that has your private keys that you generated. So they put the word solely in Howie because who does the work matters a lot. If you're the one doing all the work, maybe you've got a job, or maybe you've got a business opportunity. Maybe you've got a lot of different things. But what you don't have is security. And then over time, they've tried to like water down Howie and weaken it and break that word solely. And they say, oh, well, now it's a division of labor. Okay, cool. It's a division of labor. You're doing it all. No one else is doing any work for you. You're doing everything. So it ain't a security, just from that perspective. But then we go farther. We say, okay, you also have to have expectations of profit from the work of others. And so we make sure you have no expectations by saying you must have no expectations. So do you know what the people that transform their Ethereum into HEX have been promised? Nothing, absolutely nothing, but a bunch of idiots that have never actually participated in the ecosystem or been in the chat rooms or watched the videos or read the website think, oh my God, it's an ICO. They're being promised things. No, we're the opposite of an ICO. We're fully complete and finished now and working awesome now. There's no hope. There's no dreams. There's no entrepreneurial effort. There's no managerial effort. It already works and it's already awesome and it's already distributed. And you could use it through Etherscan. You could use it through another hex. You could use it through hardhex.xyz. You could use it a bunch of different ways. It's just code sitting on the blockchain inert. People have to run it for the network to exist. So when you run it, you're the network. So as far as the Howie test goes, people make this mistake all the time. They think that making claims to profit somehow triggers Howie. It doesn't. Houses go up in value. Are they securities? Ferraris go up in value. Are they securities? Baseball cards go up in value. Are they securities? Going up in value has no relevance to the Howie test. Who causes it to go up in value? And under what pretense is the entire rubric that securities law exists under?
There was some good OG clips there with Richard Hart talking about the Howie test.
And, you know, I was just, before I say good morning, Sam, I was just scrolling through the document of the lawsuit, and there's actually a YouTube link attached to it, interestingly enough. And it's connecting to a specific point in one of Richard Hart's videos, and it's pulled up here.
Well, that means we should probably play that clip. But
yeah,
we should give
like
people
I've
context,
never seen
which-
any kind of links, and I was like, oh, this will probably go to some nerdy ass lawyer, and it was like Richard's face. I was like, oh boy.
But we should probably
I'll play it
that
right
clip
now.
then.
It's only just I'm sure he'll cut to the chase in less than a minute 20 because it's 22 minutes into the Jordan Belfort. Richard Hart, you know, they did a little get together / interview /
2
like
months ago.
powwow, and I'm pulling it up literally 5 seconds, guys. This was tagged in the document, guys, and I'm not going to be answering the chat too much today because I have a feeling there's going to be nothing said that is I can pay attention to. Good. So let's go here.
And you know what? It made them want it more. Why? Because they said, fuck, if it's a scam, maybe I'll get it on the right side of the people are fucking crazy. But here's my question, though, going back, and I agree with what you're saying, but so you said that people can't be trusted, which is true, right? So you said they should seek out experts. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, no, there's a lot of nuance here.
Okay.
Because the term con man literally means confidence man, a man that gets your confidence to get you to disengage your critical thinking brain, to activate your greed brain, make bad decisions and lose all your money. You lose, he wins.
Right.
There are a lot of net negative games out there, and they have large marketing budgets, and they push you into doing things that are bad for you. Now, let me give you an example. In sports games and F1 racing all across the world, you're going to see advertisements for margin trading cryptocurrency exchanges.
Right.
And these people are the middlemen that cryptocurrency was designed to get rid of. Crypto was designed to get rid of middlemen. You and your peers trade with each other. You do not use middlemen. You do not give your keys to middlemen. When you do that, the middlemen beat you up with fees and take all your money, and you never see it again.
Right, it's counterintuitive. Centralized exchanges are counterintuitive. They defeat the purpose of crypto, obviously.
Exactly. So I warned everyone directly to remove all of their money from Celsius. They didn't listen. They lost all their money. They're in bankruptcy now. No one listened. I begged them. I pleaded with them. Please do not be one of the headlines. You don't have to be a headline. Get your money into your own hands, not your keys, not your coins.
No
Take
keys,
your money
no
out of
crypto.
Celsius.
Beatles told me that. No keys, no
Yes,
crypto.
sir. It's
Right,
not your key. It's not your crypto. You're going to be a headline. Millions of dollars are going to get hacked or lost, and you're not going to get your money back. And so is a real cryptocurrency where there's no middlemen, no counterparty risk, the one I invented, HEX, we can't advertise anything. People won't take the ads. But if you're a scumbag exchange that victimizes people, they love your ads because you've got a license from the government to rob people.
I didn't hear anything crazy here.
It's from the government because we're open.
I mean, I don't know how far they were trying to play this, but you would think they'd pull it to the exact point that they were trying to
They
make.
did. That was the exact. I guess that was, well, you know, within that nuance, who knows what bull crap they can pull out. It's like they're looking for 2 words where he slips up, not like they don't want to listen to what he has to say about the truth. They don't give a shit about the truth. They give a shit about, oh, can I sue this guy and ruin his shit and wreck all this stuff so all these plebs can start falling in line again? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They don't care. They'd rather him lose $1 billion and them lose $1 billion and $1 because they probably have 5 billion. You know what I mean? Like, it's just almost like people do not like this kind of stuff. They don't react well to it, but I don't think the future is really going to look like that. I don't think this is going to be, I think this will all be a joke in the future, frankly, compared to like the actual reality of like what all of this ends up being. I'm not saying which ticker symbol will do the best, but I'm saying like in the future, I don't see a place where the United States gives up too much control. They might give up like a good amount, like, hey, the people that are in, like, you're good, you're solid, but like from here on out, you interact through this US dollar currency or whatever. I don't know.
As you continue, because that's kind of like leading into some of the stuff from Bitboy, but as you create this for everybody, as you create more success in your life, with each additional zero, you're kind of adding to your monthly, daily, annual income. The risk for litigation goes up because people see a target for potentially easy money. Instead of going out and creating something in the world that is providing value in some form of a product and or service, there's people out there that will strictly go through and try to take other people's money, and the more value
or users
is
in
there,
it could be more like, oh, we have centralized exchange, all these degens are going over to Uniswap, let's change the tide back, we have so much money, let's just try and blow this dude over, and then have these users back where they belong, trading on centralized exchange.
But I don't think it just has to do with like the more attention or success that Richard Hart gets, the more he's going to be a target for lawsuits. Period. Like,
do you think if his product was exactly the same amount as successful, but he never did anything controversial online, there would be different sentiment, or do you think it generally just comes with the US dollar valuation?
I think it generally comes with a US dollar valuation. I heard from somebody that has a lot more money than I do, that as you create more wealth, right? So this is not just like $1 million, right? Like a lot more than, add another zero or multiple zeros to that. You intuitively create like a separate fund or a separate like savings account or investment account specifically for litigation settlements, right? Where it is easier to go through and settle things, right? This dude's like, hey, I want $1 billion or whatever the case is, his investment back or something. It's down 90% or something like that. And they want their money back. Okay, cool. It's good to pay them that $5,700 to get their money back. Then just continue to drag this out and just have like how some people have emergency funds. They have money in their savings, right? Well, that is one sense. If something happens to you, well, then you can also take that same stance by having a litigation fund set aside. Now, probably anybody who's listening to this is probably not going to be at that stage where they're going to need that. But if you grow a larger business or whatnot, it's going to be something that you're going to think about in the future.
And if you really think about it, Sam, the weird part about HEX, I'm telling you, this is the part that I knew, but I've been noticing more over time, like intimately, is like HEX has no liquidity.
I mean, it's 7 million, but
7 million though. Like people are targeting 7 million US dollar now. Or is it more than that? You know what I mean? Like it's. I'm not saying it's more than that, like via the pools. Like clearly it's not. But then we start talking about OTC deals with no Uniswap interaction. Then we start talking about like, and I get curious, like how much money? Because in my mind, 300, 400, 500 million would be a little bit more make sense for them to be like, hey, okay, hold the phone. But in reality, I don't think people like that he can earn money in this system because they know about liquidity providing. They know about all the shit. Like, you know,
Well, he designed the system so that he earns money no matter what. Like,
correct.
If somebody does an end
Or
stake, who
earns
gets
coins at a
50%?
minimum. Earns coins at a minimum.
Correct. So who gets that? Who gets that 50%? He gets 50% of it, right? So like, there's going to be people who don't like that. There's going to be people who
I
don't
have
like
a
him.
feeling he's thought about this before, and he's going either the T share rate, and I have to do the math on this because I haven't in a while, if I ever did. The T share rate dilutes the pool potentially over time if things look a certain way, I think. Like, you know, really down the line, though. We're talking years. But do we have years to come to a point? You know, I love that HEX is so low liquidity. It's a very perfect asset for me, frankly. Like, and that's because it's not low enough liquidity where I can't take out all my money at any one time. But it is low enough liquidity where the guys that I don't like sharking everything can't dump their bags all the time. They really can't. Like, depending on the pool, yeah, if they're real smart, they can, but they're not. They don't do that. Like, generally, I see people doing like more trading on too much, eating slippage, not doing LP to get out of positions. Like, that's only just a certain few guys that kind of do it over and over and over again. And I think for the majority of others, they bought at a good time. They kind of got lucky, and then they end up dumping big dumps. But we'll pull this down, and we'll get to the Bitboy. Sam, anything else you want to mention about, like, I don't know how intimately you understand like this part of the law, but you probably know some things. Certainly, what do you see? Like, what do you just smell? What do you and I'm talking about SEC, government in general. What where do you see this kind of evening out, or like prediction potentially, like for future landscape?
There's this video that I was telling you about by Ray Dalio. If you're not familiar with Ray Dalio, he ran the largest hedge fund in the world. I think at the peak it was like $130 billion hedge fund. This is massive, gargantuan hedge fund. I applied there. I tried to work there when I was younger, when I wanted to run my own hedge fund. Just so I could learn.
Good thing they didn't hire you. You would have quit in like fucking an hour. You would have quit. You'd be like, guys, don't tell me what to do. They'd be like, bro, you work here. And you'd be like, I'm out.
Well, so he has a very good video that we're going to probably watch tomorrow or the next day, or maybe I'll do it on my channel. It's about 45 minutes long, but it puts into perspective what's happening right now with currencies. Right here in the U.S. dollar strengthening, right? The other currencies that are going down in value, which then creates more pressure in those currencies in those countries, right? Because everything is going to be going up in price. Inflation is going to be much stronger in other countries than here in the United States, because the offset of the going up in the price actually helps with that. You have the stuff happening with Russia, and I think China and Saudi Arabia just has to join to create a new world currency for those. And he puts this into perspective over the last several hundred years on how the world reserve currency has changed multiple times, starting with, if you, in this case China, right, is the dominant player in terms of exporting products around the world, then you're going to start accepting things in your currency, right? And the way that he goes out and lays out his case in it is very interesting. I think we're going through this gargantuan shift of power from the United States to these new players, right? And this is going to
we don't got legs, bro. Our guys are flimsy as fuck.
Yes.
Dude, if they were all in a cage fight, the United States would lose first.
So bad, yes. Correct.
It would just be like they'd be hiding in the corner, and everyone else would be like making shanks.
The only way,
you know, like we would just be like, they can't actually kill us. It's not allowed. And then they'd slice them up, like, you know, because those guys do not play.
The blue-haired fairy boy would come out there. He's got like a crop top on, and he would just get shot down in half a second. Like, we're not in a good spot from a leadership standpoint, even slightly.
No, and it's not getting better, Sam. As far as leadership's concerned, I don't care who comes into office. It's so convoluted. You can't get shit done in 4 years anyway. It's just, you can't. You need 20. You need 25. You need a real shot with young guys that really care, and I don't see that happening anymore.
That's the only hope, is that this could be prolonged come November. I personally thought that leading up to the election, right, we're a month, not even a month away. I think it's in several weeks. I thought the left and the media would be trying to throw something out there, right? Something to distract people, to cause more like issues in what's going on. But if there's a landslide and like the right is put in charge of a lot of things, they could slow down the decline. They're not going to stop it. They can slow down the decline of the U.S., but they're not going to stop it.
And we could do and there could be power plays in the middle of it, but they would be obvious. Like, you're not going to be like, oh, something happened. Like, it's going to be like, no, something switched up. But they're getting ready. They're going to war. They're coming out with something. There's something's going on. New technology. Who knows? We can't say what's going to happen. But I have investments in China as well, so I don't have to worry. China. I do. ETH and all this stuff. Like, a lot of these things have Chinese ties. You guys, that's why I don't like putting all my eggs in one basket. I like having good portions of these cryptos in different places, whether that's a $10 valuation. I like the portion of the pie that I can get in the future outlook per US dollar. It's kind of what I look for. We have Bitboy here, Sam. He freaked the F out on the internet. I'm calling his bluff that he's a wuss and that he has not fought for freedom one day in his entire life. But I could be wrong. At the end, give me your take. I'm thinking if he's just a bluff. Remember, this dude's been shilling S coins for a long time, but he has stopped. He no longer takes paid promotion for S coins. He makes that clear now, but that took 3 years. So, he is a Richard Hart guy. They talk, like he's trying to be the new freedom fighter, but really he was shilling XRP for 5 fucking years. So remember that when he's screaming and ranting. But again, a lot of the things he says probably have great points. Sam, I want you to think of 2 things while you're watching this video. 1, like some of the dynamics and the like details behind it. And then 2, is this dude a total bluff? Because I'm feeling bluff.
Let's keep going. So recently, Bitboy Crypto had something to say because Sam Bankman-Fried of STX released this tweet yesterday talking about his current thoughts on crypto regulation. He came up with an FTX policy talking about the possible digital asset industry standards. And in this particular one, some of the things that he went over is, he said, at a high level, we need regulatory oversight and customer protection. We need to ensure an open, free economy where peer-to-peer transfers, code validators, etc. are presumptively free. We should establish regulation and until then, standards to ensure it. Now, what made this very interesting is, let's get to that, is when he comes to this. Number 3 on his list, he says, first, it means that we have block lists and not allow lists for illicit financial activity. We need fast, reliable lists of addresses associated with illicit finance, but peer-to-peer transfers should generally be free as long as they're not going to be sanctioned actors. Now, I'm getting ready to stitch in a clip from Bitboy. He's not going off on Sam Bankman-Fried per se, but he is going to make mention of it, okay? So let's go ahead and bring that in, and I'll let you see what Bitboy had to say.
But I want this guy right here, Ryan Sean Adams. I don't know who the F you are because you're not important. But here he says, please, dear Lord, and any lawmakers or adults reading this tweet, just know Bitboy doesn't represent us either. Talk to Jay Stravinsky. Talk to Miller CWL. Talk to Coin Center. You know what? We are tired of people that look like this guy trying to run stuff. I don't represent the people. The fuck I don't.
This dude is a bluff. It looks like this guy. What do you mean looks like? That's the most normal looking dude I ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
It looks like this guy. This guy?
But Bitboy looks probably a little bit more normal, I would say.
I know normal, but it's like, yeah, because you wear a t-shirt and you're a little chubby. Like, exactly. It's like, I don't, you know what I mean? I don't see that as normal. I know normal guys that dress like nicely, and I know normal guys that literally dress homeless. Me.
but I think that I have no idea who this fellow is, the Ryan dude. But Bitboy probably does represent the voice of a lot of people in crypto.
Yes, totally true.
because they have, the dude's got a lot of influence and audience, right? And he has I bet he has a lot more people listening to his shit than Richard does to his, right? Whether you want to agree with it or not, Bitboy puts out content regularly, which means you have more people paying
Every day.
attention to your shit. Exactly. So you're gonna have more influence because you're having more people watch your stuff, more people cut up your stuff, more people make videos about your stuff. Whereas if you do it every once in a while, you start to lose your relevance just because you're not talking about things.
And we're going after the 10% of crypto guys that actually like the details. Like me and Sam can't really do anything else. It's just hard for us to focus if it's not tending towards those guys. Those are the guys we relate to. Like we don't relate to anyone else, literally no one else. So it's like we can't advertise to someone that we literally don't even know. Like we only know people and talk to people that are like focused on their lives for the most part and moving forward and growing their businesses and like, putting, being a risk taker, being a leader, and you just don't see a lot of it. It's like we're watching squares. That's why we laugh all the time. It's like it's a bunch of squares yelling at each other about nothing. It's like oh god, this, that, the other, and it's like oh, you squares aren't making the rules. I know that for sure. But anyway, so let's keep it going. I rewinded a little. Bullish. You haven't. If you want to add anything, Bullish, please. But I know Bullish is a little sick. So.
No. Sam pretty much covered the point I was going to make.
Cool. Yeah, I think Bitboy's awesome because he stands for the people of crypto, and I am not the people of crypto. I am just the guy who likes to study a lot. But the people of crypto are the guys that need saving, the guys that need they need a way out. And it's education related, in my opinion. But he helps people get to that point. Maybe they'll lay up into my channel every once in a while, so that's probably good.
Okay, so let's go ahead and bring that in, and I'll let you see what Bitboy had to say.
He's shaking like a leaf when he starts coming out.
This guy right here, Ryan Sean Adams. I don't know who the F you are because you're not important. But here he said, please, dear Lord, and any lawmakers or adults reading this tweet.
He only gets this the truth, though, right?
Neither. Talk to Jay Stravinsky. Talk to Miller CWL. Talk to Coin Center. You know what? We are tired of people that look like
Pause it.
trying to run.
When I saw this, I was like, I imagine this is how Buck from Fiat.io looks.
No, yeah. No, I know exactly. Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. No, I know what you mean though. Like, but to me, like, if I see a guy that's dressed like this, taking a picture, not even smiling, well, he seems like a normal dude to me. Just off the rip. Like, he's like, we don't need to give up the country to guys like this. I'm like, the guys you're worried about are 97 years old and haven't left their house in 8 years. And they have $1 trillion. Like, it's like these are the guys that are probably doing something, right? I mean, they probably, it's probably middleman D all the way. You know how they do, but like, at least they're working. They're doing something. I see these guys working. I'm like, thank God they're doing something. Because it's so easy to not do anything. We all three here know that we could do absolutely fucking nothing if we really wanted to. Because it's just like, whatever. Anyway, let's keep it going. If you listen to guys like this, you're wrecked. Understand it.
And stuff. I don't represent the people. The fuck I don't. I'm the one who does. It's me. I'm the one out here putting the work in behind the scenes, trying to save crypto while these devils, Sam Bankman-Fried, Brian Armstrong, they're trying to permanently ruin it. This is not about money for me. I hope you guys understand this. I am here fighting for you. This guy with these freaking glasses on, this douchebag, is out here trying to tell you that only the suits know what to do. Only the suits. Only the people who have all the money. They're the ones who can determine what happens. No, our bill is for the people. And you're going to find this out. We've got the funding for it, and it's coming out.
Is that
a little bit spicy, if I must say?
Was that a Zen logo I saw behind him?
Go back 5 seconds. No, probably
to his left, next to his head, because I know that's Ethereum to his right.
XRP.
Oh, okay. I was like,
you wouldn't know that one because
no, I don't deal with that shit.
Yeah, no, you'd be down for 5 years. That'd be still waiting on that candle to get on profit. You know,
but that's a good rant though, because that tends to be the how the world is operates. Aristocrats, people with power, are the ones who are going through and like, hey, you're wearing a hat, bro. You don't know what you're talking about. I have more money than you. I get to make the rules, right? And inevitably, what happens? The rules I make are for me, that advantage me and what I want in the world, right?
Yeah.
And that's how it's always played out.
Well, that's how it has
Forever.
to play out. You have to have an incentive. Like, you can't care about every human. It's not possible. It's literally not possible. Like, it's like you would spend all day just like talking to subgroups of people that have different problems. Or
But
you
designing a system like crypto, I think, does that. It treats things in a much better way than how things are currently done. And the financial system is broken as fuck for so many people, and it has been broken for so long. Now, to have crypto coming out, right? You have transparency in the sense that if it's on the blockchain, it's on the blockchain. You can see that shit, right? And if we're sending $40 billion, the US is sending $40 billion to Ukraine to pay off the bribes. I'm sorry, to help with the funding of some fucking fake war and shit over there. Like, we don't know where that money goes. We know it's a bribe for something.
Yeah, we know where it goes. Contractors. It's government. Well, you know those guys. I used to do CrossFit all the time when I was working, and a lot of those guys were in the same industry for whatever reason. Like at that CrossFit, they all sold tanks and missiles from their desk all day long, and they never did, and they were like, "Yeah, it's not pretty, but make 50 grand a month." And they didn't love it. They weren't like, "Oh, I love government missiles." They were more like, "Hey, I can make 50 grand a month and make it out of this hellhole, and I'm going to be selling something anyway. I'm a sales dude or whatever, like." So I have a clean record, squeaky clean. I can clip into the government's thing, and then now I do this until I'm 46, 47 and a half, and I can retire and pretend like I didn't murder and slaughter many innocent people with missiles that had no reason to be sold, other than replacing missiles that were already there for tax benefit. So they explode the ones that are already there because they need them gone, because they make more money when these things get replaced and recycled. It's like if HEX gets staked, more people buy under it because there's less on the market. When missiles get launched, more people make missiles, and then the contractors make a boatload in the middle, sitting there, doing nothing. It's a horrible, horrible reality. And it's not something I talk about often because it's like, at the end of the day, it's like wars and humans and stuff. Like, that shit happens. I have nothing to do with that shit. But like, the reality is the system is rigged for the people that you never meet. You'll never talk to. You'll see them at a dinner somewhere out. They just are normal. They incentivize those people to not give a rat's ass because the financial situation is so wrecked that it's a safe haven. Government job making $300,000 a year is a safe haven in this world.
I was a contractor for the military, and what you said actually has a lot of truth to that. Like, I did the finances and accounting.
And I don't know the specifics, by the way. It was just like talking to the CrossFit guys.
Yep. A lot of I did the finance and accounting, so I got to see what other contractors were making and stuff like that. And most of them didn't do diddly squat at all and just got paid. And they would literally do that year after year after year. I could have literally I sat around most of the time because there wasn't like, what the fuck I'm supposed to do? I was like, give me GRC's job, give me Bullish's job, give me their job. You only have to pay me half of what you pay him, half of what you pay him, half of what you pay him, and I guarantee you'll do a better job than them, and you'll save money. And that is not. They
push you out when you start acting like that.
They wouldn't let me do it. I literally had that
leadership. You want to take leadership? That's a threat.
It is a massive incentive to help the people, because then I have a contracting company. I can win this bid, right? You in the government can approve this bid, and then I can hire your nephew, or I can give you a consulting gig and pay you, but I can pay you from a separate company because I can move the funds once they come in around so that I can pay you as a consulting gig, or maybe have pay a contractor that does the work that you need to get done on your house. There's so many ways to go through and bribe people. And this is exactly what happens in our government, but also governments around the world. It's disgusting.
And people hate on guys like me for like switching up and not working like regular jobs. You know what regular jobs I'd be working when I was 35? I'd be scamming some motherfuckers for 500 grand so I could do whatever I wanted. Period. if that was my avenue. But I wanted to wait. I was young. I was like, there's no way this has to be the way. There's no way I have to go. And I wasn't talking about government contracting, but whatever it is, you start talking, you end up being the middleman. If you're smart, you end up being the middleman somewhere, right? Like it, or you do shit yourself. And at the end of the day, I wasn't willing to give up my freedom. I felt like the premium on freedom was just gaining so much value, and the US dollar premium was going down so fast. I was like, I can't waste a bunch of time doing this shit, man. Like whatever it is, like it was going to be sales, it was going to be real estate, it was going to be something that took up all my damn time. And I was just like, I was studying for real estate. I was like, no, this is stupid. This is all stupid. Nobody knows what they're talking about. The person that handed me these books is retarded. God damn it, I shouldn't say that. But the person that handed me these books that I have to talk to for the next month that I just paid $300 for so I can sell a house or whatever the stupid little transaction. I'm like, this is not matters. This does not matter. I was like, I got to punch harder. But anyway, one's in the chat if you want me and Sam to break down the state of South Carolina, County of Florence, John Doe, pseudo-anonymous owner of HEX ERC20 tokens on behalf of his or herself and all others similarly situated in court of common pleas civil action, cover sheet, Richard James Schuler. Or the video that you have about, what was the video you had? Fuck, I said it too slow. Now they're all going to want it.
Well, there is there's a clip that I had a buddy sent me, and it's related to very interesting, very detailed MVE, because people may have heard of MVE, but they probably have no idea what it is. I have not read through this lawsuit yet, right? So we could read.
It could be a long one, Sam. What's your schedule today? Just curious. You don't know pressure.
I've got a call at 12:30 in about 40 minutes or so.
Because if we did a separate episode with a thumbnail for 25 minutes, breaking this down at 1:30, I think that could be effective. But again, it doesn't matter. I could do it myself as well. Like I'm sure people will break this down and talk about it. So if you're free and that's something you want to do, I can market it.
Let's just pull it up. We have about 25 more minutes.
All right, cool.
Let's pull it up and just start going through
it. Let's do it. I got it right here, Bullish.
We're gonna go through the Richard Hart lawsuit right now.
Richard Schuler. This is a lawsuit, Sam. Don't slip it up.
Okay, so
just kidding. So I'll read the beginning, and then Sam, once it gets detailed, I'm gonna let you go.
You want to read through this? Because it's pretty long.
No, not really. Bullish, if you want to start talking, Bullish, that would probably help.
Look, we don't have to waste our time reading it. Like, here's the summary of it. It's a valid lawsuit because the court approved for him to get served via Twitter. So, it has legs. Though, some of the stuff they're saying in there, clearly the people don't 100% understand crypto. And a proper legal team can, dispute this and win this case. But, that's pretty much where my concern is. I'm not worried, but I'm concerned on who he's going to hire to represent him for this case. So, all the updates will be, on the website. So now it's him and his legal team need to respond. So that's pretty much what I'm looking forward to, like to see who he hires to defend him on this case. And, when, the trial's going to happen, a settlement is not in his best case, because if he settles, it just sets precedent for anyone else to go ahead and do it. The only concern is that this is technically a class action lawsuit, so other people can join and make this bigger than it is. That's why.
What's the benefit of joining one of these things?
Salty people, whatever, just pretty much what it is.
It's like support. Yeah. It's not money.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, this person invested, I think it was like $1,800 total. The person who started the lawsuit.
But
read the intro. Go ahead, Sam.
People will add more validity to the lawsuit if there's one person or there's say 1,800 people. It's going to have more validity or more weight in people's minds if there's more people on there. So if what Bullish is saying is correct, that you can turn this into like a class action lawsuit where more people go on there. And I'm sure there's going to be salty people out there who are like, bought the top or whatever the case is,
And that's essentially this person.
This person all day.
This person basically bought like at 40. This person basically bought at 40. So, at the end of the day, like what I want to see is
oh shit. Is this the guy from the video that bought it?
I have no idea. But
dude, so real quick, there was a guy in the realest of stakes or highest of stakes documentary when they were filming it at the top. and he on film they watched him fucking go all in on Hex at like 40 cents.
So let me respond to this because I don't want the community to think that Richard Hart just can ignore this. He cannot ignore this. He already officially got served, and it already says if he ignores it and fails, they're gonna go after his assets. So at some point, he needs to hire a legal team to respond. So I don't want the narrative going out there that Richard Hart can just ignore this.
Can you send me this? I could read through this.
Yes,
looks like-
absolutely, Sam. We drop this in the chat to everyone too. We're getting it all over the place. I'm going to read the introduction here, and I'm just going to read the introduction, guys, so you guys can get an ethos here. That's generally like I'm not going to go through the dirty details. You can read it on your own, but let's check this out. So we got Richard Hart, compliant, class action, jury trial demanded. I don't know what all these words mean. I'm just going to say them so people that are listening. The plaintiff, by and through his attorneys and on behalf of all others similarly situated, complains of the defendant as follows. Introduction 1. Defendant Richard James Schuler, aka Richard Hart, hereinafter defendant Schuler, is the creator, promoter, and manager of an investment scheme known as HEX. The HEX investment scheme offers investors profit through the use of smart contracts, essentially a computer program that operates on the internet. The computer code underlying defendant Schuler's smart contract receives payments of money from an investor and awards the investor with HEX tokens. These tokens are not physical items. Rather, they are computerized credits that are stored on the Ethereum blockchain, a decentralized open source blockchain. 3. The HEX token has no intrinsic function. It is not accepted as payment anywhere, and the HEX token only has one potential use to an investor: profit. There are only two ways in which an investor in defendant Schuler HEX smart contracts may generate profit. 1, staking. Staking one's tokens, where an investor agrees to relinquish his tokens in exchange for a promise of a greater balance of the same token in the future. Now, the word promise is where that they messed up there, because if you pull up an algorithm and play it on your computer, it's not a promise.
It's just going to do it.
It's just going to do it. So that's
what a
kind
smart
of
contract is.
that word, sir, is Richard's going to be all over that word. So if you're watching this, 5
The second last part of that, to profit is just price speculation, right? So price goes up or you earn yield, one of those two things.
Yeah, it's like, but isn't that everything to a degree?
Yes, that was what I was thinking as you were reading.
Yeah, I'm like, this is soft right now, but I mean, it's definitely.
He might get to a better point in a second. He might.
Yeah. 5, to generate profit from his or her investment, the investor relies on the efforts of others. As such, defendant Schuler's investment smart contracts fall within the definition of security under South Carolina and federal law. Number 7, despite these facts, defendant Schuler has never registered the HEX investment scheme as a security with the Securities and Exchange Commission or the South Carolina Securities Commissioner, nor has he provided the required investment disclosure. Now, is this because he visited South Carolina to see his parents that this becomes a thing, or is it if he stayed away from the United States completely? Would have this is that what triggered this? Because
he would have been able to get served. So once, if you have like a lawsuit, or he might also have like his parents as like his address for the United States. So
right,
if you get served,
he has multiple passports. He said.
So the funny thing about this, like later on, deeper into it, like the court already approved for Richard to get served through Twitter. That's why this thing has legs now, because he's officially served. But they go through all the steps that they went to like try to serve him, and at one point they went into the HEX chat, and it looks like they spoke to a fake admin. It's hilarious. Like a lot of the stuff when you read through all of it, you're there laughing. And soon when we get to point 11, I literally fell off my seat on point 11 in the introduction.
They're allowing for digital serving now.
Yeah, because Richard Hart is verified. So since he's verified, that means at some point he did a minor KYC. So that already has precedent because so many people already got served through Twitter. So now it's especially if you're verified, it's easy to get served through Twitter.
That's interesting. Thanks for sharing that.
And I would say they probably know this. Like I'm assuming Sam might not assume the same. I might be wrong. that these guys know plenty about HEX, and they're talking to someone who knows HEX very well, but they're wording it. I'm sure they're trying to word it to like appease to whatever audience they're generally giving these things to. Like, so again, they might not be wording this in the way that would best defile Richard in like a room of 5.
Right. They're wording this in a way where the judge can
Yeah.
understand it, the jury can understand it, etc.
Because they won't understand a damn thing. And you got to think, like, when it comes to smart contracts, burning tokens and like earning yield, like the courts are going to be like,
And this is why who Richard hires to respond to this is important, because in my opinion, they should know DeFi, blockchain, etc., to be able to argue against this.
This number 0.8 here, he starts to get into, I think, the part that he's going to try to pull piece out of context or whatever that Richard talked about. Because you see, on August 9th, 2022, from his mother's living room in Bluffton, South Carolina, Richard Hart appeared on YouTube channel of Jordan Belfort. There, Schuler provided his opinion on the United States registration requirements of investment contracts. Do you want to read through this part here?
sure. Belfort. So, guys, we pulled this YouTube video for a second. You guys all know the Belfort video. It's at minute 22.
No, it's actually before that. The clip was supposed to basically show this.
They effed that up so bad.
What do you think, bro? These are, like, people don't really, I don't even understand this stuff. But the clip was supposed to basically play this.
Okay.
Belfort, go ahead. I know both worlds. Wall Street is not as bad as crypto, and Wall Street is corrupt as shit, okay? If Wall Street is a sewer of corruption and crypto is a sewer of corruption times 1,000, there's no disclosure in crypto. That's the problem. Schuler, so this is Richard Hart. But disclosure is a scam. Disclosure is a fucking scam. Belfort, how is that so? Hey, I'll be Belfort, you can be Schuler, and you can read the Schuler part, and I'll read the Belfort part. You're up.
I'll be Mr. Richard. 100% that no one reads those effing documents. 100% that no one really gives a bleep about those disclosures. 100% that when you tell someone they could lose everything, they don't really believe you. I think that disclosures are weak, limp, legalese that doesn't actually save anybody. Couldn't agree more.
Yep.
Couldn't agree more with myself there. Belfort, the most famous or infamous for serving the real world inspiration of the world, the Wolf of Wall Street. And so there's the clip at 1750. They clipped it to 22, so scooch it back. On September 20th, 2021, the HEX token reached its peak value on online cryptocurrency exchange at 50.6 cents per token. On September 20, 2022, the value of HEX token had plummeted 3 cents per token, or 94.1% collapse in value. Over 300,000 people have invested in defendant Schuler's sale of unregistered securities. These investors now face losses totaling in the billions of dollars.
I don't
know. Point 11 made me fell off the seat.
This lawsuit seeks to enforce the securities registration and disclosure requirements that defendant Schuler dismisses as weak, limp dick legalese.
Yo, imagine the jury reading this and they get to point 11 and they're like, weak, limp dick legalese.
It's not going to make sense to them. Like, unless you talk that way, it's not going to make sense for most people.
Dude, when I read
this, you have to talk to like random kids and like young adults. Like, you gotta say stuff like wimp, weak, limp, D, legalese. Like, that makes perfect sense to me.
Dude, when I read this, I literally fell off. Yeah, I literally fell off my seat when I read this. I was like, this is golden. And then it gets even funnier as you go through it. Like, it's very comical the way this thing is written.
So let's go.
Let me finish it up real quick. 12. Plaintiff John Doe, pseudo-anonymous owner of HEX ERC20 tokens, is a citizen and a resident of the United States of America in the state of South Carolina. The plaintiff is pleading a pseudo-anonymous identity due to the aggressive and threatening actions of others towards those who have criticized HEX investment scheme and the defendant of recent past. the plaintiff will reveal his identity to the defendants and defendants counsel when court-ordered protection are instituted. Lord have mercy. If I say anything about y'all, please don't kill me.
Shout out to Alan for the super chat.
Hey,
Let's
Alan
make
Fitz.
legalese great again.
Yeah, let's make legalese great again, guys. Let's make Bitcoin erect again, and rather than limp, as Richard would say. Defendant Richard James Schuler is a United States citizen, but is not domiciled
That just means like where they're physically located
within any state of the United States or its territories. The South Carolina Court of Common Pleas possesses subject matter jurisdiction over this case pursuant to Article 1, Section 11 of the South Carolina Constitution of 15 USCA something 77B. The South Carolina Court of Common Pleas possesses personal jurisdiction over defendant Richard Schuler in the Defendants Act of Omissions complained of within this complaint occurred in part in South Carolina, and the defendant has otherwise purposefully availed himself of the privilege of conducting activities within the states. 16 venue is appropriate in Florence County Court of Common Pleas. Blah 17. The HEX smart. You want to say something?
No, go ahead. I was just going to skip 16. This bullshit. It's just nothing.
Yeah.
But go to 17. Go to 17. We'll read through a couple more, and then we'll play that clip from Richard Hart at the beginning of the show.
Yeah. The HEX smart contract is an investment contract in which investors exchange money for a cryptocurrency token that investors hope will appreciate in value. You don't hope, you just wait for someone to buy. Cryptocurrency tokens or take LP in or out. Cryptocurrency tokens are traded on the internet through online exchanges. These online exchanges generally can be grouped into two types, centralized or decentralized. Not really generally. It's kind of just the truth. 19 centralized online exchanges typically are owned by private companies and are forced to adhere to state and federal securities and financial regulation. So now you guys see why we don't have HEX on all these other platforms, because it causes trouble. If they want to attack you, it makes it easier. But if you don't have it listed. So now you see, maybe it's not because they won't list us. Maybe it's more because we don't want listed. You know what I mean? Like, these regulations include securities and investments company registration requirements designed to inform investors of the risk and benefits of potential investments, and your customer laws designed to prohibit money laundering, fraud, and other financial crimes. Examples of centralized online exchanges include Coinbase, Binance US, Kraken, and Gemini. The HEX token is not sold on any of these exchanges. Hold on one second. He's correct. Decentralized exchanges, in contrast, are not owned by a single entity. Decentralized exchanges typically operate as a peer-to-peer software, allowing computers to communicate online in a manner similar to BitTorrent or Napster. Guys, this is critical. This is the last point we're having. I might read the one after this.
That's actually not far-fetched. That actually makes a lot of sense for someone who doesn't understand how it works.
Oh, this guy understands.
That's a great explanation, actually.
So, guys, remember, this is going to run right into the topic for the end that we're about to do, isn't it? Or are we waiting on that?
Well, we can wait that for tomorrow.
All right, we'll wait on that for tomorrow, guys. But tomorrow we're going to be talking about some of the nuances here. So statement 21 is very important for our show tomorrow, because listen, you have to understand that there's very critical detail here when people say centralized versus decentralized. What that means is one person does most of it, or one person can manipulate it, really, to a degree. Like enough where it matters. And Sam and I and Bullish are getting red flags from Ethereum POS early. And let's be honest, I've been getting them staring me in the face for 3 days straight.
We do have, if we have 3 minutes, like.
No, we can play that. Let's play that, Sam.
Yeah,
but not on the phone, on the computer.
No, it is on the computer. It's ready.
Oh, it's already up?
Yeah, let me pull it up real quick. Whoops.
So, guys, this is critical.
It's already pulled up, I think, in the background.
This will go into our show tomorrow. And then we'll leave it with the thing that Bullish has under here with Richard Hart, and we'll just leave it from there, guys. I fell asleep yesterday around 3, and I fell asleep for roughly 3.5 hours. I missed my stream, and I just was like, whoops, and then I just woke up and started playing BNBP.
Dude,
so
I did the same thing. I fell asleep for like 5 hours, and I woke up feeling so much better.
Yes, I feel great. So, guys, if you see me at 1 p.m., 1:30, 2 o'clock, like I think there's a lot to cover right now, and I think I'm going to cover some stuff and get into the weeds a little bit. I'll just stop working at like 3 or 4 today. So let me read this last part one more time before Sam plays that. Number 21. Decentralized exchanges, in contrast, are not owned by a single entity. Decentralized exchanges typically operate as peer-to-peer software, allowing computers to communicate online in a manner similar to BitTorrent or Napster. Because of their decentralized nature, decentralized exchanges are difficult to regulate and often violate state and federal laws and regulations. An example of a decentralized exchange is Uniswap, which is currently under investigation by the Securities Exchange Commission, whose developer is facing a class action involving alleged violations of federal security laws. I can imagine. Defendant Schuller's HEX token is traded largely, if not entirely, on decentralized online exchanges. Decentralized online exchanges do not accept fiat currency such as US dollar. Instead, yes, they do. Instead, investors who seek to purchase HEX have to do so through the forms of cryptocurrencies. Yeah, well, there's a currency that's pegged to the US dollar, you ding dong. So guys, I'll just read the last two and then I'm done. 23. The exchange of cryptocurrencies for HEX tokens is accomplished with the use of the HEX investment smart contract designed by or on behalf of defendant Schuller. In exchange for consideration of initial investments, defendant Schuller's HEX smart contract promises two methods of profit-making potential referenced in paragraph 4, staking and price speculation. So if you guys want to continue reading this, if you want me to cover this every single word of it, I will do it.
Yeah, I pasted the link to the document in the chat twice, so I'm sure people saw the link. You can download it, read it on your own time.
I'm getting a lot of backwards feedback while I read this article, meaning that I'm learning there's some things that people say about HEX that just truthfully aren't true, but they say them loud and proud over a long period of time, and it makes them true because everyone says it. And the truth is, there's a reason we stay away from a lot of certain things, and it's not because they're centralized. It's not because coin market caps douchebags. It's more than that. And I start to understand that by reading this article and like reverse engineering, because I'm assuming the guy that was like giving them the information for this knows more about this than me, just to a degree. So I'm assuming that these are the weakest. These are the hardest hitting points for what they're trying to get across. Like they're trying to get across that these guys are kind of playing the fact that no one knows what's going on in LP pools. That's kind of what it is. It's like, dude, if you ask 99% of Hexicans how much money and liquidity is in Hex over the 7 pairs on Ethereum, they won't even come in close. They'll say $1 billion.
They have no idea.
They don't, not even close. They have no clue. But they're like, I'm earning yield every day. And I'm like, well, the yield has to come out of the LP pool, sir. So if you're in one of the biggest stakes, Sam, in like recent history is coming out like tomorrow or the next day. So you're going to want to look like literally like one of the biggest ones. And it's like to his address that's like, I think a user. So people are kind of like flagging it real hard. So we'll keep an eye on that. Sam, do you want to play that real quick or do you have to run?
No, let's play that. But on
and preface as well for like transitions, so I can know what you're thinking.
Before you take this down on this, the part that is going to be like, from my point of view, that would be argued to try to get this to actually go through to win would be the profit from the work of others, right? So in how Richard Hart has positioned it is to not be a security while at the same time saying he is doing marketing. And if you, a talented, resourceful, creative lawyer or team of lawyers, can tie marketing into price speculation, that would probably be the only way something like this. I haven't read through this whole thing yet, just first jump, right? But they would have to tie both of those pieces together, right? That he talks about marketing, right? What is the purpose of marketing? To draw new people into something, right? To get people to do something, right? So if you can tie the actions of marketing with price speculation, then maybe there's something to stand on there. As in like, hey, I believed he was going to be doing marketing because he talks about doing marketing online, and yet my shit is down 94%. That would be the only thing I could think of like how this could stand.
Well, yeah, like the price down, it makes no sense to mention that like as the document source, but it's just like they're trying to get people excited. Like, it's like almost like adds a little bit of spice. Just like he said, he was living in his mom's basement. Like that was kind of just like to spruce it up a little bit rather than make any real point. Like in there, they were literally like he started this in his mom's basement. Like they didn't have to say that. He probably had a house, like, you know what I mean, like down the street or whatever. Like, so again,
This is
this is
the
going
way.
to be interesting how Richard reacts, and he has lots of money, right? We don't know exactly how much, but he tells everyone that he has AF load, so he should have no problem hiring the best team and the best lawyers in history to fight this for him. And if he doesn't do anything, I mean, that would be kind of blurry.
If he doesn't do anything, it's gonna do some damage because it, like, you know, later on, you know, it shows like if he fails to respond, they're gonna go after his assets. So at this point, he has to respond if he has any assets in the legacy market. If he doesn't, then it's like
he
whatever.
does not. He does not.
We don't know that. We don't know.
I
that.
know, but
let's not assume. Let's not assume. We don't know
6
that.
years
But
straight,
also
he
at the
was
same
like-
time, you know what I mean? If he decides to come back into the U.S. for whatever reason, and let's say he has a desk warrant, you know, like he's at some point he's gonna have to deal with it. It's in his best interest to respond. It's in his best interest to, I think, seize this opportunity because settling is not only in his best interest, but in the best interest of crypto because it will set precedent for, you know, anyone to basically sue for, you know, buying crypto and being down, and we don't want that. So, you know, he can literally seize this opportunity, hire the best legal team, crush every single argument because there's a lot of weak points in this.
And these are the type of things that turn things bullish, frankly. Like I hate to say it.
Well, here's a good thing about it. Let's say let's you know, let's do an imaginary situation. He hires a rock star legal team and he shows up to court and this thing gets media attention.
Yep, it's possible.
Yeah,
Because
well, that's how Binance shut down and then the volume went up. Like, you know,
yeah, like, you know, and like they can go, they can win the case, crush the case, set precedent to like not bring up these lawsuits ever again, and give validity to HEX. You know, it's no longer the scam because we beat it in court, and Richard Hart looks like a god. You know, like
that's correct. There's I don't remember.
I forgot that watches and shit are assets. Like I thought I was just thinking houses and S&P shit. But
if they're not located, they have to be located in the United States for the US to take them.
But what if you had to buy them in the United States, but they're not in the United States?
No, he didn't buy them in the United
States. You could buy some. You could get around.
He said he paid with crypto.
So if you have your goods in a different country, that saves them in a way.
Of course.
Oh wow, great.
Yeah,
that's good to know.
In case they would have to work. They would have to work with Interpol and a bunch of different agencies to like seize your assets from another country. Similar to like what we saw, like what's happening with Russia and the oligarchs and yachts and stuff like that. It will have to be like a team effort to like make that thing happen with like different governments and organizations. But whatever. But you know, let's wait for Richard Hart to respond. He has 20 days to respond. So at some point we're gonna see some sort of update. And let's get into this clip that Sam has before we end the show.
And before, just the last point is, guys, I didn't post Twitter links to all this shit because frankly I didn't want to spew a bunch of nonsense all over Twitter. Instead, I wanted the people that really do enjoy my show to have like a decent conversation about some of these points with a couple of guys that have, you know, so that's what I wanted to get through. And now we're going to talk about the interaction between all of this and the mining on POS and some of those like interactions there. And then we'll close with Richard saying that part. So Sam, go ahead and pull that up. And if you have any other points.
So I'm not going to share it. It's on my personal Facebook page or whatever, but we'll play it so you guys can hear it.
Yeah, I have it in the background. So Sam, you need to wait. Let me put an overlay so people don't see your personal real quick. So I can do that little switcheroo in the back.
And I'll just give us some context while you're doing that.
And how many minutes is that? Just curious.
3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Oh, all right, there we go. It's in the background.
Okay, so with POS, I have a buddy that I talk to pretty regularly about crypto stuff. I've had him on my show, Russ. He's in Australia, and we are having this conversation around proof of work and proof of stake. And this is an ongoing conversation, right? Because I'll send a message today, he gets it tomorrow because we're different time zones. And this has been going on for a couple of weeks. And when he was talking about MVE, which is miner extracted value, people have probably seen MVE in articles or seen people talk about it, but they don't understand how it works or anything about it. And he sent me a message, private message. I told him I was going to play it, so hopefully he doesn't give a shit. And I think he does a very great job of going through and explaining what MVE is and how it works. And then Bullish actually had something, but we'll probably end up running out of time and he'll play it tomorrow. We'll cover that tomorrow. So let's listen to this.
So what's actually happening here, Sam, is it's not necessarily the validators themselves that are doing the censoring. It's these things called MEV relays. Specifically, they're called flashbots. They're a type of relay. Now, I don't know if you know much about this, but just to summarize, MEV stands for maximum extractable value, which is extra value that validators can get out of blocks in addition to the issuance to maximize their APY, essentially, right? Now, that extra value is done by essentially reordering and rejigging transactions to get maximum value out of the block, i.e. more fees, right? The transactions paying the higher fees, they reorder them in such a way that they get the maximum value out of the block. So what these validators are doing is they outsource the building of these blocks to something called MEV Boost software. And the MEV Boost software has these searchers and builders. The searchers look for transactions, and the builders then build a block with the transactions in the block such that it has the maximum amount of value for the validator, right? And then what happens is that proposed block then gets sent by the validator to something called an MEV Boost relay. And one main type of relay being used is a flashbot. Okay. And that relay then, which is on a separate server, aggregates all the different submitted proposed blocks and then picks the one with the highest value for the validator and then sends that block back to the validator, and then it gets submitted to the blockchain, right? Now, what's happening though is in that process, the MEV Boost relay is actually censoring transactions. You have MEV Boost relays that are OFAC compliant and some that are not OFAC compliant, and other relays that are just downright bad and do naughty things. So the validator has to make sure that it picks a good relay. It can pick which relay it wants to use. Now, I'm not totally aware if those validators are, when they pick that relay, know that it's an OFAC compliant relay or not. I'm not sure. I'd have to look into that a bit more. But I think they are, that they're being told to pick relays that are OFAC compliant, right? Otherwise, they're in trouble, essentially. And as that article was saying, or as that website above says, it's more than 51%. I think it's 55% now of blocks being produced have OFAC compliant. This has all come about since the Tornado Cash crunch down, right? So Tornado Cash transactions are being censored, are being excluded by the MEV Boost relays. This is what's happening.
So when you put this into context, how this can play out is that effectively Ethereum is very centralized. And if the United States wants to censor somebody or something or a group of people, they're easily able to do that with POS, proof of stake, because of how things are currently set up and how moving from proof of work to proof of stake is increasing the centralization. This is something that Richard Hart brought up a couple years ago, that GRC pulled up a couple of days ago. And somehow he's changed his mind, maybe because he's got $1 billion and coming out with something that's going to be POS. But POS is just more centralized. It's leaning into that trifecta of scalability, decentralization, and security. Leaning into the scalability, which then you have trade-offs on security and you have trade-offs on centralization.
You see why I like to buy HEX on ETH Fair sometimes?
Yeah. I you know, I'm bullish
not
on
all
W.
the time, not all the time, you know, nothing crazy, but hey, having 3-4 million over there makes me feel just plump in my britches rather than not having it, because I don't really care if it goes to zero, frankly. But I mean, speculating $1,000 and getting whatever, a couple million at the time. Plus, I like to buy the dips, like a little at a time. Though I'm telling you, like I don't think like, oh, I'm gonna flip this dip today. I'm just like, I'll put in a little position here. Or I'll take out a little position here every once in a while if I want to make a move on something. But again, being mature when you're investing is the whole thing. Like you have to BNBP came out, for example. And I'm sure there's many men, just like every product, that just lost their whole stack. And then there's other men that gained on their stack because they used their brain. Or critically thinking about it rather than kind of just dumping money in.
I have an idea. I'm going to just come out with it here on the show and then let me know what you guys think. Would you guys find this interesting if we had a call in where you could call and leave like a voicemail as in a question, and we did a show maybe once a week, once a month or something, where you call into a number, you leave a message, and that is you don't have to give your name or anything like that. We're not going to display the number. And you leave your question there and we play it on the show and then we talk about it. If you guys think that would be interesting, give us a 1 in the chat. If you're like, not really something interesting, press 2.
I used to use those a lot when I started doing paid courses. I would go on YouTube all the time to the people that had call-in shows. I would call right in. That was how I got into crypto, frankly.
I think that would be fun.
And I think it'd be a good idea to do regularly once a week. If we pick a day, it's either Friday or Sunday. Friday or Sunday, because the volume on here is usually lower for trade action and like crypto in general on those days. Like, generally things go down on Fridays and generally people start looking at shit on Sundays. So at 11, either at 11 a.m. Eastern on Sunday, guys, or Friday.
Yeah, no, I think
it might be better because people won't be working soon.
And I think it would be fun to learn more about people because people are going to be telling their stories and stuff about the questions that they have or just thoughts or whatever the case is. And we'll probably get some ridiculous stuff too, which might be kind of fun or interesting to play as well. Thoughts?
You know what else? You know what else I would like to do, especially when we officially switch over to the new channel? Have a call-in section.
I wanted a call-in show for years. And
that's easy to set up.
That's real easy to set up though.
Yeah,
let's do it up. I want a call-in show. That would.
But yeah, but there's a lot of stuff with the new format that we want to run. You know what I mean? You know, from like today was kind of like a preview. You know, we covered multiple topics. We ran through it. You know, you guys had a conversation at the end of the show, and this is pretty much more or less how the new show is gonna run. But yeah, I want to include call in and voicemail and stuff like that, and a few other features that I won't give out now. But yeah, we want to make the show 10 times better than what it is now. And have viewer participation somehow.
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll end with the video of Richard and we'll play it out, and then if Bullish wants to switch to the crypto in the morning DeFi proof song, that's cool. But guys, this kind of summarizes a lot of the points, and I missed the rewind on this, so this is Bullish, and we're gonna let it go here, guys. I'll probably be back on in a little bit. I gotta start looking at stuff. I slept in a little bit this morning, so. I missed all the PLSD stuff, guys. Sorry, I guess I'm wrecked for life. But again, I don't speculate on everything. I just don't. There's some things that I just risk reward / time effort. I just don't. I get lost in it. So let's play this. Sam, great to see you as always. Hope I can see you later on. Bullish, let's play it.
That would fail the Howie test. I think the last time that you spoke with you.
You don't know shit about the Howie test to make that statement. I know more about it than you. I can educate you if you want.
Sure.
Yes, it's very simple. The Howie test states that a security is when people give money to a pool with the expectation of profit solely from the work of others. In HEX, only you can mint your own coins. No one else in the world, only you. When you free claim your HEX, you mint your own HEX. You mine them from scratch. They never existed before you invented them. You're doing all the work. When you stake your HEX, you burn your coins. And then when you end stake, you actually mint new coins and a reward. You do all that, and no one else in the world could possibly do it for you because you're the only person in the world that has your private keys that you generated. So they put the word solely in Howie because who does the work matters a lot. If you're the one doing all the work, maybe you've got a job, or maybe you've got a business opportunity. Maybe you've got a lot of different things. What you don't have is a security. And then over time, they've tried to like water down Howie and weaken it and break that word solely. And they say, oh, well, now it's a division of labor. Okay, cool. It's a division of labor. You're doing it all. No one else is doing any work for you. You're doing everything. So it ain't a security just from that perspective. But then we go farther. We say, okay, you also have to have expectations of profit from the work of others. And so we make sure you have no expectations by saying you must have no expectations. So do you know what the people that transform their Ethereum into HEX have been promised? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But a bunch of idiots that have never actually participated in the ecosystem or been in the chat rooms or watched the videos or read the website think, oh my God, it's an ICO. They're being promised things. No, we're the opposite of an ICO. We're fully complete and finished now and working awesome now. There's no hope. There's no dreams. There's no entrepreneurial effort. There's no managerial effort. It already works and it's already awesome. And it's already distributed. And you could use it through Etherscan. You could use it through another hex. You could use it through hardhex.xyz. You could use it a bunch of different ways. It's just code sitting on the blockchain inert. People have to run it for the network to exist. So when you run it, you're the network. So as far as the Howie test goes, people make this mistake all the time. They think that making claims to profit somehow triggers Howie. It doesn't. Houses go up in value. Are they securities? Ferraris go up in value. Are they securities? Baseball cards go up in value. Are they securities? Going up in value has no relevance to the Howie test. Who causes it to go up in value? And under what pretense is the entire rubric that securities law exists under?
You already know what time it is.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Waiting on phones.
Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning.
Ready to take notes.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Crypto in the morning.
Waiting on phones.
Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning.
Ready to take notes.
Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some HEX and I'm making a stake. Got me some hedron, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. Jim Reddit sent me to show you the way.
D5 Pro.
Crypto in the morning.